What is happening, everybody? My name is Beth and welcome back to Every Day is Spooktober. Today we do have a wonderful review of a film that has just come out. I'm really bad with reviewing films that have recently come out just because I work quite a bit, but this one came out about a week ago when I'm reviewing this, and that film is Renfield. This film, I mean, I didn't really know it was coming. I just saw the sort of trailers for it. For those of you who don't know, I do work in a cinema where I get unlimited tickets. So I was like, I'm gonna give it a go. Like, it's a horror comedy. Wasn't too sure what to expect of Renfield, but it's just another film, I guess, this month, coming out this week, that, I was like, you know what, I wouldn't mind seeing it, and I could get a good review of it if I really do like it, and see if it's my kind of thing. I was just trying something new. Normally I wouldn't go and watch something like this, but it has Nicholas Hoult in it, and I know it's funny because people are like, Nicolas Cage is in it, Nicolas Cage is in it, although I'm not a massive fan of his. I've seen a few of his movies, but I do quite like Nicholas Hoult as an actor. I think he's very fun and brings something different to like every role that he does. So yeah, this week we have a lot of films coming out. Like I said, we have The Evil Dead Rise coming out this Friday, the 21st of April, and I am so excited. The first thing I'm doing on Friday after I finish my shift is going straight to watch the film. I cannot wait for The Evil Dead Rise. It's going to be a good watch. So looking forward to it. And another film as well is Missing, that is coming out on Friday as well. That looks really interesting. It's another sort of perspective POV from like the computer screen kind of vibe, like Unfriended, and I really do like those. I think they're so fun and different, and they're like, I don't know, I think it's a new way of capturing horror, kind of like found footage. Like it's a fun and creative way to like capture horror. So I'm also going to be watching that and reviewing that as well. And also, the biggest news of all, when I got home from work yesterday, I found out that the Insidious 5 trailer is being released today. Today, as I'm filming this video. So expect like a review discussion of the trailer to talk about, future thoughts for the film and what we think is going to happen, and etc, etc. I'm super excited to see this trailer. I have been waiting for Insidious 5 since they mentioned Patrick Wilson was directing it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this week, really, just with all the new releases and all the exciting horror stuff coming out. So yeah, it's gonna be great. So anyway, let's just get on with the Renfield review, as that is what we are here for. Yeah, so like I was saying before, this Renfield falls under a horror comedy action film, and like I said, for those of you who are familiar with the channel, I can't do dark comedies, I can't do funny horror. Like, it doesn't really interest me, it doesn't entertain me. I just think it's silly and it's like pointless. I definitely like some kind of seriousness or like danger or adventure within that, rather than it just being straight silly and stupid, and you know what I mean, just not in any way realistic. I was a bit on the fence about this film because I knew what I was getting myself in for. And don't get me wrong, this film was cringy, it was silly, it was campy in so many ways, but I didn't actually hate it. I was entertained throughout the entire film. There was a lot of action sequences, it was very bloody. I love a good gory film, so this definitely hit that mark. The action sequences were very creative in their own kind of way. It kind of reminded me of like the Kingsman films, like the action in those. The very like quick snappy shots, and the sort of quick sort of action from the characters, and just it being very snappy. And I think that if you can do it right, it works really well. So that was like my number one thing about this film, is the action in Renfield. Like, it was so entertaining, and the fact that we had like Nicholas Hoult being like a badass in it, like that for me did it. Because a lot of the films that I idolize him for, for example, like Warm Bodies or like Jack the Giant Slayer, like he's always been a very timid and shy and quiet kind of character, whereas this one, he definitely was that, but then he brought a sense of like, I will eat these bugs and like literally kill you. Like, he brought all these moves, he just looked good doing it in his suit, like, you know, he really did perform well. And I also think the sort of relationship he has with Nicolas Cage, with Dracula, in this film is quite interesting as well. I know this film sort of dates back to like the other Dracula movies, and if I'm quite honest, I've not seen any of them. I'm not a massive Dracula fan, but after seeing this, I am kind of interested to go back and kind of explore the Dracula films, and I know there's a book and everything that comes with it, so yeah, it would be really interesting to kind of know more about it. But obviously this is a very modern take on Dracula, so I can see why there's probably people out there that are like, I don't like this, I'm not a fan of it, because it's very, 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 you know, 2023 like vibes, like 100%. I think as well, like the costumes, the makeup, I think Nicolas Cage looks so good. I think when he starts sort of forming back to his normal self, I think the makeup and the special effects and everything done for him looked so insane. And like in that first initial shot, at when like half of him is like sort of all like brains and melted, and just he's half of his face isn't even there, it looks so good. Super cool, super creepy. I loved it. I have to admit, I think this film 100% really reminded me of Kick-Ass for some reason. And I know they're like completely two different films, but the comedic aspect to the action, you know, to like the seriousness occasionally, and then the silliness, it was very Kick-Ass vibes for me. After I watched this, I went to go and like look up like the director and his work, and he hasn't done a ton of projects, but I was kind of expecting him to have worked on Kick-Ass in some kind of way, because it genuinely reminded me of that. I think the story was interesting, because I know the whole story of Renfield trying to break away from his boss. This happens, you know, in the sort of previous films, and that came before it. But I also think the whole sort of addition of bringing like drug dealers and like villains into it, and then them sort of, you know, attacking Renfield, and Renfield getting involved when he shouldn't be. I feel like that whole aspect of it was giving me the Kick-Ass vibes, but I do think it was like a silly story. From the trailer, you kind of get like, oh, like he's just trying to escape from his master, and you think it's done in a very different way, but the way he tries to escape from Dracula and, you know, not be under his power anymore is very silly, you know what I mean? Like, he goes to a support group and he gets help, tries to get help, and takes the advice from human beings, and then, you know, saying that Dracula's a narcissist, and etc, etc. It's all very silly. So don't get me wrong, parts of it I was like cringe, like whatever, but overall it was just a fun movie. I'm not saying I hate it, and I'm not saying I loved it. I can see where people would really like this. You know, I can see very similar sort of films that have been made already and taken inspiration from, and I can also see like how people might not like it, because obviously the originals are original, and this is a very modern Dracula film. But I think all performances were performed pretty well. You know, some of the acting was a bit over the top and a bit cringy and a bit silly. But that's just sort of what this film was giving. Like, this film was like, I'm this, and this, and that's what you're getting, and that's just how it is, you know. Like I said, I knew what I was getting when I walked into that film. It was just how much of it could I take, and how much was it actually going to be enjoyable, and for the most part, it was just a fun film. I wouldn't say no to having it on my horror DVD collection. You know, it wouldn't be a consistent everyday watch, but I would revisit it definitely at least once or twice. So yeah, those are just my general thoughts on Renfield. Let me know what you guys thought of this film. You know, I think my overall rating for this, it's only fair to give it a 5 out of 10. You know, like I said, it's very sort of mid for me. You know, there was good things, there was bad things, like I've said, but yeah, that's just sort of my personal opinion and what I overall thought of Renfield. So yeah, once again, let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for all the releases coming out soon. I'm so excited. And who's excited for Insidious 5? I cannot, the excitement is eating me alive. However, a part of me is really like doubting whether this fifth film is gonna be okay. We'll talk more about the Insidious franchise in another video, but I'm super excited about it, and yeah, get ready for that review of the trailer because I cannot freaking wait. 3 p.m. today, it's gonna be good. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video.